I want to thank RCC for making this space available and for shifting gears and working with us. So, and I know many of us tonight have strong opinions about immigration and the zero tolerance policy that the Trump administration has put into effect. But tonight, I'm here to report back on to all of my constituents about what I saw at McAllen and Brownsville, Texas, where mothers and children have been separated from their children, and what I saw in Victorville, where refugees and asylum seekers are being detained. In the past month, over 2,000 immigrant children, including infants and toddlers, have been separated from their parents who came to our country in the hope that the dreams they have for themselves and their children could come true. In the past 2 weeks, I've had the opportunity to participate in visits to facilities where migrants from other countries are being held. Most recently, I toured the Federal Correction Institute in the institution in Victorville. It was a prison that was clearly unprepared for the unprecedented arrival of nearly 1,000 detainees on June 8th. Completely thought out. There was a call to ask whether or not they could accommodate 1,000 detainees. Prison officials informed me that there was a need for more space because all of the occupancy at facilities near the border, ICE facilities and CBP facilities were at the brim, and they were pulling detainees, overflow detainees, and moving them into the prison facility. Now understand that one doctor taking on 1,000 additional charges was also a problem. And it's exemplified by the 60 cases of scabies, the uncertainty about whether or not they're following the full protocol, whether they have enough staff to manage whether these scabies cases are being properly separated from that prison population. They have one confirmed case of chicken pox, and they had a complete ward of about 150 detainees that had been exposed to chicken pox that were sort of in a quarantined area. I was able to interview groups of these detainees. They come from principally Guatemala, was the largest population group. The second population group, which really surprised me, was a large number of Sikh Indian nationals from India. And there were some individuals from West Africa, some individuals from Pakistan and Bangladesh, but generally the largest group after the Guatemalan migrants were Indian nationals. I expressed surprise, and so did the warden. The warden was not expecting to have to take care of so many of these Indian nationals. All of the prisoners told me, and I spoke to several groups. I have some Spanish capacity, but my assistant, Rafael, speaks it more fluently. All of them complained of having no change of clothes since they arrived on June 8th. And no change of underwear, the bedding was not laundered, and they were allowed access to showers, but they are housed generally in two-person cells around a large common room. To put detainees, instead of having detainees in minimum security or maximum medium security prisons, we could have a far less costly system of community and individual accountability. On June 22nd, I, along with 25 members of Congress, visited 3 facilities in Texas. I first was in McAllen on the 23rd. I flew on the 22nd. Early in the morning of the 23rd, I was in McAllen, where I saw the Custom and Border Patrol intake facilities, where I did witness recently apprehended mothers with children, and then some fathers with children. This was after the president had issued his second executive order ending the policy of actually separating families. At the intake facility, they're issued an A number or an alien number, and then they are quickly as possible transferred out of that intake facility. It's not meant to be a permanent facility. It's a regular sort of big lockup with benches, concrete benches, and exhausted migrants, awaiting. They do get some preliminary sort of medical evaluation, and then they're transferred either to the Port Isabel facility, which is an ICE detention center, administrative detention center, about 2 hours away, and the children. I have to say that the women that I met in Port Isabel, I do not believe posed a national security threat to our country, an imminent national security threat.
And come legally.
And as I walked the grounds in Port Isabel and observed the 15-foot high walls with razor wire coiled at the top.
Yay!
It did bring to mind some of my own family history. My 2-year-old mother and my 3-year-old father were considered in 1942 an imminent threat to our nation. And why was that? Because politicians exaggerated, made exaggerated claims, inflammatory claims in the press that there were no good jabs. The only good jab was a dead jab, and
yeah, they were legal, right?
Excuse me, he's talking.
excuse me.
They were legal citizens.
I didn't. This is.
You're talking about illegal and legal citizens.
Please stop. Please stop.
Well, you're not being clear.
Please stop. Please stop.
You need some clarification, man.
Please, sir, please stop.
The truth hurts.
So the analogy is that an action, Executive Order 9066, issued by President Roosevelt in 1942, was a result of the political failure, a failure of political leadership in our country. First is a slogan that somehow among some of us have gained a positive meaning. But I want to remind you that America First was used in the 1920s and 30s during a shameful time when a boat full of European Jews was seeking to escape Nazi Germany. And that boat could not land or dock anywhere on America. My friends,
Yes.
that is not the America. That was not.
Wasn't that Democrats that did that? It was Democrats that did that. Don't blame all of us. It was Democrats that did that.
Wait your turn.
Sir?
Well, you're getting off. You're not quite on the ball here, buddy.
Can you please stop? And please refrain. Thank you.